Well, good evening, everyone. Let me get the camera switched over here. All right. Let's see. There we go.
All good.
All good. Finally got the right buttons pushed. I feel like an amateur. It's been a little while.
Okay. Well, we're doing Pod Force 1 again. We're trying to get this thing lined out. It's just me and Eric tonight.
It's hard to get people in the summertime.
Yeah, Eric Elder of Simplify IT, and where he hosts us in his office, and we greatly appreciate that. So we're just going to talk some quick national topics tonight, and the first one being our own Congressman Jamie Comer, Representative Comer. Oversight Committee is going to be investigating Bidengate. I don't know what else you call it, where they covered up his health conditions over the last 4 years,
Right.
And the use of the auto pen on all these pardons. I've seen graphics where they've merged all the signatures together. They're exactly the same,
Right.
no variance at all, indicating their auto pen. So,
And that's kind of a sketchy thing. Not so much sketchy, but it's allowed by precedent to use auto pen. The caveat to that, though, is the awareness and the direct authorization from the president.
correct.
And there, to my knowledge, I couldn't find anything that says that he has to sign anything in particular.
But historically, on the big stuff,
Bills,
the president
and,
always signs, and
with a live signature.
and they're determined that he used auto pen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're wondering who was behind the auto pen.
Right, and that's the problem, right?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
we were just talking earlier when he was talking about natural gas. The guy said, do you realize that you did this? He said, I did not do that.
Right. The House, the Speaker.
The speaker, yes.
Yeah. He asked why did he stop liquid natural gas going to Europe in a one-on-one meeting, and and the president said, I didn't stop it. I signed some environmental stuff. He goes, no, sir, you stopped
Right.
liquid natural gas, LNG, going to Europe. And Biden said, no, I didn't. He goes, sir, would you like me to get your secretary and pull up the order?
Right. And see that
Didn't even know he did it.
right, and that therein becomes the scary part is we always talk about conspiracy theories and things like that. As conservatives, people like to make fun of us until the theories come true,
Till the facts come
till the
out.
facts come out. But if everything signed is exactly the same, and with an auto pen, it doesn't take a handwriting expert to know it,
Yeah, it's easy.
because you can literally hold it up to a light and tell what could have got signed, and he wouldn't have the cognitive ability to say to accurately say, I didn't do that.
Right. Well, they're wondering if Jill Biden was pulling a pin, pardoning all the family members, back to 2014.
I'd wondered about that because she didn't get a pardon.
Yeah, right. But she was never accused of nothing.
But, well, true. And she's highly intelligent. Say what you want about her. She's highly educated and she's smart. And she knows that she hasn't done anything. Would she not pardon herself to make it, to kind of try to throw people off? Well,
Yeah.
if she was doing it, she would have pardoned herself. Well, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, because she took care of the kids, took care of the grandkids,
Mm-hmm.
took care of everybody associated with Hunter Biden and all his corruptness. I don't think Biden didn't pardon himself either.
Mm-mm.
So that was good. But
Well, and they're both at that age. We've lived full lives. By the time we get to prison, it won't matter,
yeah, and
type of thing.
right, and we'll talk about TPS, but right in the last few days, they extended the TPS stays, temporary protective status
Right.
stays, for 530-some thousand people up through 2026, knowing that Trump was going to cancel it on day one.
Right.
So we'll talk about that in a minute, but that was auto-penned. All the pardons were auto-penned. many of the environmental things are auto-penned in the last few days.
Mm-hmm.
So there's talk even if the pardons are even valid.
Yeah, and
Whoops, phone.
I think that's going to create quite a controversy and a big stir if they go through and invalidate the use of AutoPen. But I don't think that is a bad thing. That not to say that all of his stuff is deserving of being canceled or anything like that, but to set the precedent that no, the president has to sign these things into law,
Mm-hmm.
or pass some kind of legislation, moving forward. It has to be a live signature. It can't be auto-penned.
Yeah, and I read somewhere, do not recall, but I believe I'm recalling it correctly, that Trump rarely ever, less than 10 times, used AutoPen during his first 4 years.
It probably won't hold those big old Sharpies he uses.
Right, and yeah, and Biden was just signing all kinds of crap the last 3 months. So it'll be interesting with that, and Comer's Oversight Committee, where he's chair, our congressman, he's going to also delve into why Biden's health wasn't brought up. Why was there a big cover-up through news media on his health and his cognitive awareness?
Right, which that's been a concern.
Mm-hmm.
It not just his cognitive ability, but just health in general, like the inability to walk steady. There's just all kinds of other signs of decline. And with the news of the prostate cancer, and what'd you say you'd read that it was he probably had anywhere between 5 and 10 years?
It was on MSNBC. They had some doctors on today and said that he's probably had it for 10 years, but certainly longer than 5, because it takes that long for it to get into your bones.
Mm-hmm. After it metastasizes.
Yeah.
Well, and my mom had undiagnosed. She wasn't officially diagnosed with ovarian cancer, but her primary care physician said if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Mm-hmm.
Because the problem was she would not have survived treatment, and she was already in a mental decline and ended up getting Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Like for the last 6 months, she didn't know who I was. So once you get in more advanced stages like that, you start getting mental decline and
Right.
and
Yeah, you lived it.
yes. So it all kind of adds up. It all kind of makes sense.
But the Oversight Committee, it'll be Oversight and Judiciary always must see TV. Judiciary's got Senator Kennedy on it, and Oversight's got AOC, and I think Jasmine Crockett from Texas. I think she's on there. So
I do not like her in the least.
It gets quite boisterous on that. So they'll dig into that, and what's funny, not funny, but I guess. By the way, if y'all got any questions or anything, go ahead and ask them on our for the 5,000 people that are watching right now. If you've got any questions,
any questions, we'll do them live.
Put them in the comment section. But remember in 2016 and 2020, they were all over Trump's health reports.
Right.
And they wanted to see them, and then when they saw them, they said they were lies and covered up and all this stuff. Well, here it is 8 years later, and he's still traveling the world, not having any mental troubles, any of that kind of stuff. And a friend of mine posted on Facebook page that when they said Trump was 6'3" and 225, he said that was a lie. I replied, so you're concerned about 20 pounds of weight versus 4 years of cover-up of Biden's health.
Right.
And no reply, of course.
No, right. There's never a response to that
Yeah,
kind
you
of.
hit them with the facts, and
When I'd read something like that, I make friends all over the internet. Someone had said, "Well, Trump is only a couple years behind Biden."
3, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that was the comment was that he was only a couple years behind, but mentally he's at least a decade ahead of Biden.
If you watched any of the news coverage of him over in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE, all the walking he did.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he walked for days
right
through the various buildings they were in, and they showed video. Biden couldn't have walked 100 feet.
No, I totally agree. And but yeah, he is mentally aware, and you have to pay attention. You know, if everybody out there who hates Trump, if you would use your a little bit of common sense and think about how he throws insults out and how he
be objective.
Yeah, be objective, and how he throws insults and how he's quick-witted, even though you don't like what he's saying. And I don't think a lot of times it's very presidential myself.
Because you're not 100% fan of Trump, are you?
Not 100%.
Yeah.
There's I think he hurts himself a lot, but if you just watch that, he could not be as mentally bad off and still come up with the quick wit and how quickly he comes back and throws stuff back at people.
Right.
I mean, he's mentally sharp.
Yeah, it ain't like you sitting in a mirror going, let me practice this, and this.
Right. Yeah, because it's,
the most famous when Hillary Clinton said, don't do something about.
It's a good thing you're not in charge of the law.
Yeah, and he comes back, because you'd be in jail.
Because you'd be in jail.
I mean, that's an all-time classic. But it'd be interesting. I reached out to Congressman Comer to see if there was a date scheduled yet. I didn't see one on their official White House Oversight Committee page, but it's coming up because it's been all over the news. So it's going to happen, and maybe we'll get down to some of these things, because he said on a newscast, I think, that if these people won't appear voluntarily, they're going to subpoena them in. So when you start saying you're going to subpoena somebody, and they're not messing around.
Right, and they don't do that, they don't do that for everything.
Haphazardly.
Yes, yeah. It's because there's something that they know. They know that someone knows the truth. It's kind of like the whole thing of, I already know the answer to the question.
Right.
I just have to ask it.
Well, so had you heard anything else other than that on the Oversight Committee hearing, or
I had
any
not.
comments on Biden's? All of us. Here's a conspiracy theory for you. Okay.
Where's my tinfoil?
Yeah. If I had my hat. The book from Jake Tapper's coming out tomorrow. Have I got that as a talking point?
I think you did. Well, we were talking about it earlier. No, you didn't write it down as an official topic.
All right. So Jake Tapper's book, I'm sure everybody's aware. It's Jake Tapper he was on his Sunday morning shows yesterday. He closed out one of the shows saying, America will be shocked with what's revealed in this book. And he's already revealed a bunch of stuff in the book. A bunch of people have got copies. They've already read the books and everything. But when he said America will be shocked with what we found in this book, I don't know if that's to drive sales or if it's facts.
Just hyping it up.
Yeah, hyping it up maybe too much. But I know he said they've interviewed over 200 staffers, named and unnamed sources.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are named in there, like Jill Biden's first 2-year press secretary. He smokes them.
Oh, yeah?
He smokes them.
Well, and he's not one that's known for continually embellishing the truth. He's usually pretty straightforward.
Well, we think.
Well,
because how many presidents say,
that's fair.
Well, I can't talk about that because I might get in trouble.
Right.
He's the most
that's
powerful
true.
man on planet Earth. And he's got some teenagers back there saying, no. Remember the Easter Bunny?
Oh, yeah.
When he was talking to the citizens of America, and the Easter Bunny goes over and grabs him?
Yeah.
Or he would have, he didn't have a cabinet meeting the last 9 months he was in office. The cabinet members are quoted in that book as saying they were shielding from the president. They couldn't meet with the president. They wasn't allowed.
Right.
But I always remember at these really short press conferences he'd have, you'd hear the thank you girls.
Mm-hmm.
they would after the two questions the press was allowed to ask, they go, thank you, leave the room, leave the room. Well, Trump's cabinet meetings, they'll take questions for 2 hours till everybody runs out.
Well, right, and he's also met with them in the Oval Office.
Numerous times.
Yes, at least weekly. Select media people coming in. I mean, obviously, all the media doesn't get to come in at the same time, but
ain't that much room.
Right, but he's brought them in, and he hasn't dodged questions. Now he could be lying at every answer, but he isn't, avoiding it.
They're going to accuse him of lying at every answer.
Oh yeah. The other side always accuses the opposite of.
But there's So okay, well.
But Jake's book should be really good.
I might even have to buy that one. I bought Jamie Comer's.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
But this one, like I said, I've said this many times, this will be bigger than Watergate. When it's all said and done.
If the full truth ever comes out.
Who was running the country the last 4 years? Because it wasn't Joe Biden.
Right. I agree.
Wasn't. So
he was the puppet.
Okay. So, all right. Well, that'll be our first segment. We want to thank everybody for watching. Hang on. We're gonna what do you call it? Transition into another one. But I just wanted to have that stop point.
Oh yeah. Well, do you want to end it and just come back live?
No. We'll lose what few people we got watching.
Oh.
Well,
it's an opportunity to break things up into clips. I can't get Craig to take a break otherwise. So.
Right. So all right. Well, thanks everybody for watching.
All right, what we got next?
Senator Schumer and the Mexican ship that crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh, gosh.
This is classic.
It is.
Classic Democrat trying to blame Republican. I mean, God almighty. He publicly said.
Wait a minute. Does anyone watching know who Schumer accused of being at fault?
For the ship crashing into Brooklyn Bridge.
Go ahead.
He blamed Elon Musk and Doge.
How do you connect those dots?
He said there was cuts to the Coast Guard on whatever that river is that goes under the Brooklyn Bridge. I don't know if it's the one that caught on fire back in the day. No, that was Cleveland. I don't know how he did that other than whatever goes wrong in the country, they're going to blame Trump.
Somehow, yeah.
He didn't. It was comical watching him say. I saw it on Twitter, on X.
Well, you've dealt with a lot of boaters over the years. You've owned a couple boat docks, ran a couple boat docks.
I had them for 11 years.
Did the Coast Guard ever come down and tune up boats for people or check boats?
Yeah, because the reason, if you don't know, this is a ceremonial ship that comes up to New York every year, big sailing type ship.
Right.
And the engine died. It just lost power. And it was floating down the river. And the crow's nest and bashed into the deck of the bridge with cars going across it. And 2 people died. I think one guy fell from the crow's nest down to the deck. I think the other person was killed from falling debris. And then the boat crashed into one of the stanchions of the bridge itself.
Right.
And Chuck Schumer somehow blaming Doge and Elon Musk. Said it was cuts to the Coast Guard. So the Coast Guard comes out today and said that's bull crap. We don't even get involved unless it's more than one ship.
Right.
We're not telling them to drive how to go up and down the river.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If there's 2 ships that collide or something big.
Yeah. They might be monitoring it, but when a ship loses power, it just loses power.
Right.
There's 1 million videos online of giant cargo carriers crashing into docks because they've lost power.
And you don't see orange and white boats sitting there.
No.
Trying to bail them out.
Or crashing into beaches even, where they'll beach themselves. But Schumer, again, as usual, took this opportunity to blame Elon Musk because, you haven't heard Elon Musk's name mentioned in the news for a couple of weeks now.
That's true.
Because he stepped away because his 130 days was up.
Right.
As a special government employee. But Schumer brought it up today and blamed Trump. They're in such disarray. It's unbelievable how they're trying to find anything. And the Democrat Party, they hate Schumer right now anyway.
Yeah, he's on the
because
outs.
he passed some bill. Yeah,
Right.
AOC's thinking about challenging him, and she's already raised just a gob of money to do it.
Right.
And boy, I hope she does. It'll be hilarious.
It will, especially her, because she's a hot mess of herself.
That's what I'm talking about. Waving that left arm every time she talks,
Right.
threatening everybody.
She does. She threatens and yells like she's been up here 30 years.
Yeah, she's
like, girl.
threatened all the Republicans if you'll have hell to pay or whatever. When Gold Bar Bob Menendez, the guy
Right.
that's no longer a senator,
Uh-huh.
'cause he took money from some country, gold bars, cars, all kinds of stuff. So we call him Gold Bar Bob. His son, Robert Menendez Jr., and two other ladies, a mayor. No, so it's two guys and a girl. They tried to break into that ICE detention facility,
Mhm.
tried to push their way through. And so they're in such disarray across the country that they have no leader, they have no direction. They're the two that are out there the most is AOC and your friend Jasmine Crockett.
My friend Jasmine Crockett.
They're trying to step up and be the leaders because they're leaderless.
What I don't understand is AOC's been like that since she, not her freshman year, but probably her second year forward. She's been real boisterous and loud.
Flaming liberal.
Yes. I can't believe that she, unless it's because she's Hispanic and female, I can't believe she's never been called.
Was that a chauvinistic remark?
It was. Why wasn't she dressed down by more senior members?
They're scared of her.
Or even more, even
Nancy
the other.
Pelosi did it once.
Right.
It didn't work well.
And I mean, we're talking about someone who on what 170 was their starting salary, 176 for, who on $174,000 starting salary didn't know how she was going to pay rent in Washington D.C.
Well, and there's a revolt, kind of a revolt in her Brooklyn district.
Yeah,
because she's never there.
because she's always out.
She's out.
She's
out.
everywhere but where she's serving.
Right. They don't see her. I mean, she literally is
Right.
not there.
She's too busy. She's
Like
too busy giving.
Comer comes back to the first district
Right.
all the time. Of course, he lives in Franklin County, so he's here
Right.
a lot, but he visits his whole district. She never goes back to Brooklyn at all.
Right.
So
She's
That
out
was
there
just
getting
that was just
clippets.
yeah, that was just a funny little thing.
Oh, well.
Then today the news was SCOTUS allows the Trump administration to revoke
The TPS.
temporary protective. I was trying to remember what it stood for. Temporary protective status for over 500,000 people that we flew in. We being the Biden administration on taxpayer dime from these countries: Cuba, Venezuela, Haiti, Honduras, and 13 other countries. We flew in 538,000. Some lower district judges, they put a stop to it like they do everything.
Right.
Put a hold to it or something. But Supreme Court ruled today 8-1, not 6-3, 8-1.
Who's the one?
Ketanji, Supreme Court Justice Brown. I'll say that because I don't know how to properly pronounce her name. But she was the only one to vote no. So it was 8-1. So that's pretty strong.
That's you don't get 8-1 very often.
You got two Democrats voting
Right.
for Trump.
Right.
So
because there's a lot of 5-4, 6-3 decisions made.
And so they're going to start immediately deporting these 538,000 people
And
back to their home countries.
what I like about having that strong of a majority in the Supreme Court is it shuts up the argument that, well, all the judges that you appointed voted in your favor.
Yeah.
You're right, they did. Plus some of the ones that you all appointed.
Well, and several of the rulings lately have gone against Trump.
Yes.
With Republican-appointed Supreme Court justices voting against Trump.
And I think that's a great
two
thing.
of the three that he appointed himself
Right.
voted against him. So you can't say it's a 100% partisan
Right.
court and on either side.
No, absolutely. And I like to see that out of the Supreme Court. because it shows you that they are being fair and balanced, and they're not playing the politic game because that's not their role. They're not supposed to.
Right.
And when you see conservative appointed judges going against conservatives or vice versa, I think it makes a strong case for the fairness of the court, for the impartiality of what they're doing.
I wish the press would quit saying this is a Bill Clinton appointed judge, this is a George Bush appointed judge, this is a Barack Obama appointed judge. That just stirs the pot.
And it's completely untrue.
What's
completely. Untrue? A Bill Clinton appointed judge. Bill Clinton selected the judge. Oh, they still have to be approved by 535 people.
Yeah, that's correct.
And just because Bill Clinton appointed or selected a judge doesn't mean they're automatic. They're automatically, yeah.
Because some have, the Attorney General for Bush was turned down.
Yeah.
What a disaster he was.
Thank goodness.
He is still, whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he hasn't gotten any better.
He's well involved. He constantly said Biden was sharp as a tack. Remember Karine Jean-Pierre or KJP, the press secretary?
Yeah.
Oh, we can barely, she's 30 years old, 35 at the most. I can barely keep up with him. He's a whirlwind all over the place. Bull crap. When you say when you're that young and you say you can't keep up with an 80-year-old man,
right?
Maybe you shouldn't be in your job.
Right. Yeah, you're just well, there's no other way to say it. You're just lying.
Lying through her teeth. Yeah. So then another thing that came up today, it was a big news day. I mean, the whole weekend was, but President Biden has prostate cancer that's metastasized into his bones. I get a PSA test. I showed it to you before. I've had one for 5 years in a row now. It's almost time for another one. It is time for another one. And mine's, I forget what it was. See if it's still on my screen. 8.4, not 8.4.
No, that would be very bad.
0.5, 0.8, something
right.
like that. And 4 and above is bad.
Right.
And so on MSNBC, several doctors said President Biden's had this at least 10 years, and it should have been found in a simple PSA blood test. That's what they do on me. And
if they do like a CBC or something like that, draw another vial, and it's.
Well, and the doctor on Fox News said he requires all his patients over 45 to get a PSA test to look for colorectal cancer, or prostate cancer, because it's becoming more and more prevalent in men. So he starts them at 45. So I'm getting them. I've got my first one when I was 60.
Right,
So
it's one of those
I've
things.
Had 5.
Right, it's not an extremely invasive test. The quicker you can get a
blood test,
right, the quicker you can get a baseline, better, and the more you can monitor it, because anything surrounding cancer is always early detection.
Yep.
It
raises your survivability up huge.
Yes, exponentially. And colon cancer. What was it? I was reading this. I mean, you got me doing it now. Prostate cancer. The 5-year survivability rate on metastasized prostate cancer was something like 32 or 3%, according to American Cancer Society. So your survival rate is very low, as is the curing it. It's a very, very low probability or prognosis, maybe, of curing it. And I just can't believe
right.
It's not a Biden thing. Didn't support probably anything that he did, but the state of the whole state of everything. He is the president of the United States. If he has a health emergency, he's got an entire hospital that's him.
Yeah, Walter Reed. Like we talked about earlier.
Yes. It doesn't matter what's going on at Walter Reed. If the president has an issue, he's first.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yeah, they don't make him wait.
Right. You can't tell me that you can't get simple, like, your basic blood test, like a CBC, a PSA, your chems and electrolytes and all those other things that your doctor will take on you. We can't get this about every 6 months on the president.
Right. And I mean, the most important guy on the planet.
Yes.
So what does that say? Put your conspiracy hat on again. If one doctor says he for sure should have been taking PSA tests since his 60s at a minimum, 70s for sure.
Well, there's only
And
two.
it takes over 5 years for this to metastasize.
There's
in
only
your
two
bones.
things.
What do you think it is?
There's only two answers to that question.
What is it?
They knew and they never told.
Why do you think they did that? What's your opinion?
Because bad publicity.
Campaign.
It would show weakness.
Campaign.
Yes.
He wouldn't have won the first election.
No.
If they just said he's got prostate problems.
Because of, every medically trained person out there knows that the survivability rate of prostate cancer is really low.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to put somebody up in office who may not be there for the 4 years.
Right. And then
their puppet show's over at that point.
And did they know and not say nothing? Now, I'm on another conspiracy. This conspiracy night. Another conspiracy. Jake Tapper's book is coming out tomorrow. It is titled Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. And like I said earlier, he ended his show saying, America's going to be shocked with what we found in this book.
And I'd be really curious on the actual type of cancer, because I don't think all prostate cancers are the same. I don't know.
That's correct.
And some of them are very, very aggressive.
Yeah, but with treatment, he can survive several years longer.
So, to say that he had it for over 10 years may be true. It may not be true. I think that a lot of that comes down to what exactly type of cancer he has.
Yeah, because what they do, because my dad had it, and he survived 24 years so far, but had 45 radiation treatments. But they want to catch it early. That's why like I showed you my PSA numbers on my chart app, if it starts creeping up, gets up near 4, keeps going up, then that's a signal to the doctors, hey, we need to look at this.
Right. And they would stop you way before.
I think one of them said the MRI is first. If that shows something, then it's a biopsy. And then if the biopsy comes back positive, then they can treat with radiation like they did with my dad, 45 treatments, or they can cut out your prostate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a whole lot more that they can do now.
Right.
With the robotic
and
technology.
Like you said, with him being president of the United States, if he's got anything that's elevated, if his cholesterol's elevated, they know about it.
Right. And I'd seen something, and it was talking about Air Force One and all it was I can't remember what channel, History or Discovery or something like that. They were talking about all the security and stuff in Air Force One. And this is what concludes my disappointment in not knowing this about the president. And again, I can't believe that they didn't know, but I can believe they would hide it for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. But when they were talking about Air Force One, they were talking about the bathroom, because they've got a bathroom just like any other jet airliner. The blue water comes down, washes the stuff away. That is highly protected, because if you get a stool sample from a president,
correct,
you can find out a whole lot of health information from that.
Right. And
so they protect that like a national secret.
So it's said North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, somebody carries around when he does number 2 in the bathroom, they take it out and put it in a bag and take it with them.
Yes.
Wherever he's at, because they don't want to develop some poison or something that they could rub on him, like Russia likes killing people.
Yes.
They could rub on him and kill him.
Right, because you can find all kinds of
simple contact. And so, yeah, you're correct, but Kim Jong-un is the most paranoid of paranoids, and I guess he should be. But
he's not worldwide.
This book we'll never cover it, but it is going to be blasted all over the news for the next week, because now even CNN, MSNBC, they're wondering who ran the presidency the last 4 years. Who was actually the president? Is it true Biden didn't get up till 10 and stopped working at 4 and took a nap in the middle of the afternoon? Is that true? We might find out in this book.
Right.
Could he have answered the 3 a.m. phone call? We'll find out in the book. Because right now there's Democrats saying there's no way he could have.
Mm-hmm.
They blamed his debate performance on him being on an overseas trip, and then they over-prepped him. Well, the doctor shot that down today.
Oh, he did? I hadn't seen this one.
MSNBC, they hurt Trump bad. I mean, Biden.
Right.
MSNBC was not a fan of Joe Biden today.
And normally they're on that side of the aisle.
Perfect terms. Yeah.
Right.
It was funny watching those guys today, but just seeing that, and then you also on some of the news today, I saw where Los Angeles' new prosecutor, the guy that defeated Gascon by 20 or 30 points,
mm-hmm.
He said today that let me see exactly what he said.
It's time to get the notes.
Yeah. He said criminals will be facing consequences now. No more getting out of jail without bail. They will be prosecuted to the maximum extent possible. So how do you think Los Angelinos, or whatever they're called, Los Angelinos, how do you think they're going to react to a prosecutor that's actually going to put, when they mob a store or they go in and steal they ride into CVS on a bicycle,
mm-hmm.
fill up a bag just under $950 and roll out and nobody stops them? I think those days are done.
I think so. And I don't know why that ever become a thing.
Because of George Soros.
Well, it's kind of like government aid on your dollar. It's like government saying, "Oh, if you're hungry, go over to the pizza place there and just grab one off the table as soon as it comes out."
Well, that's what AOC and Ilhan Omar and the other squad members said. Well, if they're hungry, it's okay for them to steal. Well, they're stealing makeup,
right,
pantyhose, anything you can think of. And that's why you go to a drugstore now with everything's locked up behind a case. Or you go to a Menards. That's the first place I saw it up in Cincinnati. Menards had everything locked behind cases. You had to go get somebody to unlock a case to buy something that cost more than $50.
Right.
And so the guy explained to me what it was. He said, "You wouldn't believe the amount of theft that goes out of here. They walk out like they're going to church, and we can't stop them. Company policy."
Right. And I'm less harsh about people stealing when they're stealing food.
They're never stealing food, though.
Exactly.
They ain't walking out with steaks and baked potatoes.
No, sir. They're filling up garbage bags full of stuff, or bags or whatever of stuff that they can sell quick.
Yeah, so go sell on eBay,
on the street corner,
Facebook, on the street corner.
Right. And that's what I mean. If they were stealing to eat or to feed a family, if a woman came into Walmart here in town and was loading up her purse with baby formula, I would probably volunteer to pay for it. But the moment you go to cosmetics and start stealing eyeshadow or whatever, I'm done.
Yeah, well, Tide was at one time, the clothes washing detergent, was the number one stolen item in the country. Not Tide Pods so that young people could eat them, but just Tide. But there's some breaking news right here.
Uh-oh.
Just came across my phone. Representative LaMonica McIver, she's one of the 3 that stormed the
mm-hmm.
detention center. She's now been charged with trespassing. So let's see what AOC does.
Uh-oh.
Said New Jersey
because
District-
she was the one that there would be hell to pay.
U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Alina Habba, is charging Representative LaMonica McIver for her alleged misconduct towards law enforcement in front of Delaney Hall earlier this month. She's dismissing the trespassing charge, so she's getting her for smacking the ICE agents.
Okay.
Physical violence. So that's going. So let's see what I'm going to follow AOC's Twitter tonight and see what she comes out with.
Well, because and that's probably smart. I mean, can she circumvent being charged with trespassing?
Well, she's a U.S. attorney.
Because of her position, can she?
I see.
Is there some kind of immunity that she can have there? Maybe not. You find the right lawyer in front of the right judge, I'm sure they could probably argue it. But it's hard to justify smacking the shit out of someone.
Yeah, well, and it says that she originally charged Mayor Ross Baraka with a Class C misdemeanor trespassing, but they're dropping charges on that.
Okay.
So the mayor's getting off, but not the...
so they're dropping the trespassing.
Yeah, there's 3 congressional lawmakers, McIver, Robert Menendez, Goldbar Jr.,
Uh-huh.
Goldbar Bob Jr., and Bonnie Watson Coleman were... that's crazy.
I know.
Thinking they can do this and get away with it, where if you and I did it...
Oh, we wouldn't even be able to walk away before we were charged.
We would be arrested on the spot.
On the spot.
So...
Well, I think that's great. I mean, when they were impeaching Trump, everybody said, "Oh, hold him accountable, hold him accountable." I'm fine with that. Hold him accountable. If he did something wrong, hold him accountable.
Nobody's above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
Ask Letitia James, because she's got her ass in the ringer now.
Right.
For rental fraud or mortgage fraud or something bad.
But if you're going to start that standard,
you better
hold that standard.
Karma's a bitch, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And that's the sad part about the Republican Party as a whole, especially in Washington, D.C. They've been weak on that. I mean, the last 8 years, the Republicans have been beat to crap left and right by the Democrats. And most of it, I can't say was incorrect or wrong. Some of it blown out of proportion and embellished.
Most of it.
And probably small basis of fact in there, but we should be. Why are we not doing the same thing?
That's what I wonder. Why? I talked to our local Republican Party chair. I said, "Dude, you got to start giving us just as much as you get."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Don't worry."
I think the gloves, they have to come off.
They have to.
Trump has set the stage again for not tolerating anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think finally, that the Republicans are getting tired of it.
Well, Trump doesn't care no more. You can't run for re-election again, no matter how much they push out.
He's going scorched earth.
Yeah.
He's going past everything that he can that he wants to get past.
No matter how many times they say Trump's going to run for a 3rd term, but they forget Barack Obama saying, "I'd love to sit in my basement, my sweatpants, with an earpiece in and tell whoever how to run the country."
Yes.
Well, did he do that? Maybe he was the one running the country.
I've heard that conspiracy theory before.
But I don't even think Barack Obama was this liberal at all.
No, I don't think so either.
So, I did have a question, but it's not national. It's local.
Oh, that's fine. Let's do it.
There was a text sent to me.
This is now our local news segment.
Okay. The city commission, tonight's city commission meeting, they announced this. I already knew. But housing inspector was terminated today.
I have not heard that.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to watch.
Well, I sent it to y'all in text.
Yeah.
Not going to say his name.
Was it on the commission meeting?
Yeah, but I'm still not going to say it.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know him, but I got friends that do.
So if you want to know the guy's name, watch the city commission meeting.
What's odd is...
Which will be pretty short, I'm sure.
I know he's retained an attorney, so I know there's going to be litigation.
Uh-huh.
But during this flood situation, when people are having trouble getting their electric turned on having trouble getting back in their house. For somebody to terminate one of the 2 housing inspectors, son, they must have done something bad. Or it was politics. Or it was, who knows? I mean,
I don't see it being politics though.
I'll tell you when we get off camera.
I say you know a whole lot more nuts and bolts and grit than I do, but maybe it's political. Maybe he stepped on the wrong toes. But what was the question?
Well, just wondered if I knew anything else about it, so I figured I'd.
Anything additional? Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not, if I did, I wouldn't say it on air.
Right.
But
Well, that's why people tell you stuff.
yeah, and
Because you
then-
keep it to yourself.
correct. Then the other fun thing, I don't know if it's fun, but it wasn't fun for the mayor. Patricia Waldridge appeared in the citizen comments.
Uh-huh.
She took her whole 5 minutes, and boy, she laid into him.
She used all 4 minutes and 59 seconds and 59 hundredths.
Over his ethics complaint conviction.
Yeah.
She went into great detail. That was must-see TV. I might even clip that out and put it on our page.
I'm going to have to watch that one because Patricia, she's got nothing to gain or lose at this
It's
point.
right in the very beginning. So
Oh,
you
good.
got your
Well, that's when they do all that.
introductions, and then
Before
the
they
citizen
start business.
comments. Yeah. So she took up her whole 5 minutes.
Well, and the good thing about her is, like the other commissioner we had that was always prepared, Kyle Thompson.
I don't know him.
They I was going to say something hateful, but I won't. Jokingly, of course. When they speak, they've done their research. And of course, Patricia open records requested a lot of information too. So she's speaking from facts.
Yeah.
You can't spin it into she's lying.
Well, we don't know because we haven't seen the case.
Fair. I'm just going by
Well,
her
actually,
character and reputation.
Yeah, we read the document where the Ethics Commission issued the ruling.
Right.
Now, they issued a ruling with no fine. In state government, if you violate ethics, you can get fined up to $5,000. I don't know what it is in the city. Or they can make you pay back, like if you went to a dinner with a lobbyist or something and didn't report it, it's $1,500 for your half. And then your lobby company paid your $1,500, and then they also paid my $1,500. They can rule sometimes I got to pay that $1,500 back or
wow.
pay a fine to the city on top of the $5,000.
Well, I think paying back only makes sense.
Well, we'll be seeing because the mayor has retained an attorney also, and he's going to court over this. And Patricia pointed out, I didn't know this, that I don't know. He's surely hired a personal attorney.
I would think.
City government wouldn't be defending this, I wouldn't think. Taxpayer dollars when the city's about to go broke in 2 years.
Well, I'm trying to think where it makes sense because if there's an ethics violation and
You're found guilty.
you're found guilty and you're found of doing something wrong, would it not be the city's attorney, not the city attorney, but an attorney representing the city, not be the one that's thrown these charges?
That would have been a good question for the guy you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And, the real question is, when Kyle went through his stuff, it was in the paper all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And every article they wrote, it just became longer because they kept tagging everything else
Right.
behind it. Was it even in the paper? I'm not sure.
I don't recall seeing anything in there.
I don't know. Why do you think that is?
Oh, they seem to be blind in one eye. They only see one side of the fence.
Blind in the left eye.
Blind in the left eye.
That was something that she's mentioned, and so I don't know. I mean, it's just going to be interesting watching these things. City Commission also mentioned annexing to a degree. I didn't really understand what they were all talking about, but that was right after Patricia, and they had the city attorney, the sewer director, and somebody else up there talking about the annexing and sewer out into the county, whether they'll let more things tie on or something. And as I was watching, I didn't know if it was so they could generate more money because the city's hurting for money, or if they talked about maybe having a different fee structure for the county citizens,
Mm-hmm.
which they might already do. I don't know that either. But it was not fully understanding. I'm gonna have to make some phone calls tomorrow to
Yeah.
see
Well,
what exactly they're talking about.
if people watch that budget meeting from, was it March? I mean, they pretty much laid it out. That
Oh yeah, the sewer department. Yeah, they did their up through 2030. They've showed their fee structure.
right.
and
Well, I'm
increases.
talking about the city hurting for money. They
Oh.
pretty much laid it out that they're going to be broke in a couple of years.
City
Like
manager, assistant city manager Andrew, whatever.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like they're going to be $0 left.
he was brutal.
Yeah. Not broke. $0.
Well, not enough money to pay the light bill, as
Right.
he said.
Right. Right.
So
you know, for a lot of people, broke is I've only got $50 in the bank account. This is broke as in I don't even have the $50 in the.
yeah, does broke mean they can't fill up police cars?
I don't know what happens.
Do they can't fill up trash trucks?
What happens when the city has no money to operate? They don't have I mean, the only way they can run on capital is to issue bonds.
Yeah,
It's
and-
another good question for this guy. That
Yeah, and if you're not trying to draw a population to come in, build more houses, because we know for April there were 0
building permits, issued.
building permits issued in Franklin County, while Versailles and Georgetown had quite a few.
and
I was sent that information earlier before.
before we got the text.
Yeah, I
Well,
knew that last week.
and you know, JW said that there's 500 approved, which I have to think not building permits, but
Well, that could be in the county.
well, that's true. It doesn't help the
Unless,
city.
was the text we got today, was that for the whole county or just the city?
If JW was talking about it, I would have to think that was within the confines of the county, but I don't know for sure. But
I'm
this
looking back to see.
500 housing units. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of apartments, condos, duplexes.
Yeah, there are houses going up in the county. I know the ones by Hearn Elementary.
Well, I
it's
can't
like
remember
60.
exactly the context that was mentioned in.
Yeah, I'm looking back. I don't see it either. But either way it goes, we didn't have any. Whether it's in the city or county, it's not good either way it goes.
Well, that's the sad part is, Buddy, our other guy who likes to do this with us. Of course, he's in the building industry. He knows what's going on around us.
Yes, he does.
You know, because they sell block everywhere,
Right, all over the place.
and you know, and he's even saying, you know, these even Lawrenceburg is by the end of the year, in one little development will have built more houses in Franklin County will the entire year, just from now till the end of the year,
Oh, really? Yeah.
and they're starter homes.
No, yeah, well,
And nobody wants to. You know, we need starter homes. First and foremost, we need jobs, but
yeah. So, okay.
which
Well,
is, I guess, on the way. So
Yeah. All right. Well, we want to thank everybody for watching today. This was just a abbreviated version. We were kind of just hopping around. Our other two podcasters, Kyle Thompson and Buddy Bennett, were unavailable tonight, so we just wanted to go live for a little while, and we'll try to get back on track next Sunday, hopefully.
hopefully.
If not, it'll just be me and Eric again.
But we're trying to keep shorter segments. The problem
we're
when you
still learning, we're still
we're
learning.
still learning what people will watch, and we're open to criticism and suggestions. Send it to Podforce One. Go to that page and send the criticism. I'm a grown man. If you don't like it, you're not going to hurt my feelings.
Right, but
I will not let you ruin my day.
we are leaning on the conservative side of news. So that's where we're going to be, because they're not represented in this town. So we want to be the spot that you go to for conservative news that we found in our daily readings across the internet, to counteract some of the things that are on the State Journal and those crazy ass letters from all over the country that I think they're just using to get clicks.
We're going to start a GoFundMe. We want to buy the State Journal. Me, Craig, and we're going to bring Kyle in on this too.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to do a GoFundMe. So
Yeah.
buy the
Okay.
State Journal.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
Well, thanks everybody for watching, tuning in. We know it was unannounced, but we'll be sharing this through the week, and we'll try to get back on a regular weekly schedule starting next Sunday. So thank you a lot.
Thanks.
We came back for a real quick breaking news thing. Besides the housing inspector being terminated, the assistant city manager, Andrew Hartley, apparently resigned. That's big news.
Effective.
I guess effective,
Law.
let's see, effective 5/15/2025. It's listed on the city, I guess their agenda for tonight's city commission meeting. I knew about, well, it's on here, so I knew about Steve Watson getting terminated, and I know he's grabbed an attorney, but I must not got on there in time to see that Andrew Hartley resigned. That's big.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
Things are shaking up in town.
So just wanted to bring that out to everybody. So thanks for tuning in.
Thanks.
We'll see you.